you're wired somehow. Like you have a certain way of existing that is absolutely natural and skillful for you. It's you're talented in that way. It's how your heart expresses itself. It's how you get inside of love, and how love expresses itself uniquely through you.
If you have a mind, you have a mission.
If you have a mind,
You have a mission.
If you have a mind,
You have a mission.
Welcome to the event. We're really happy that you're here. We're about to go live in just a few moments. But before we lift off, there's a few important things we want to make sure that you're aware of so you get the best possible experience out of this. First of all, the sound current is supremely important to us, the musical experience. So if possible, we really encourage you to use good speakers or headphones to experience the class with. Second, if you have any pre-existing injuries, please take care of yourself, modify as you need to. Don't risk exacerbating an injury because of a yoga exercise. If you have any pre-existing medical conditions and you're not quite sure if this would be good for you, please consult with your primary healthcare practitioner and make sure it's the right thing for you. Also, make yourself relatively comfortable. You can use a cushion, and in fact, we encourage you in our seated positions, meditation practices, to use a cushion. It helps lift the heart up, keep the spine straight, and it's more ideal for the flow of energy in the body and for the meditation experience. You can even be sitting in a chair with feet flat on the floor for those of you that are unable to sit in a meditative sitting posture on the floor. Just use a chair, and for many of the exercises, that will work perfectly fine. And then lastly, if you're having any problems with the video streaming, try refreshing the page, or if you see a gear icon on the video, adjust your resolution. If you're new to this type of thing, just take care of yourself. If there's something that you don't quite understand, I wouldn't worry about it too much. Everything that needs to click will click after a few times of trying it out. Enjoy the experience. We're about to get started in just a moment. Welcome, greetings everybody. Happy full moon, thanks for being here. And to me, that always feels, when like tuning in for a yoga practice, like we're doing just now, to me, one thing I notice that it does is that it reminds me that I'm not in charge of much. You know what I mean? Because often the way I operate in life, and I'm sure you may also operate in life in a similar way, that the mind is always needing to take care of things.
I have to get the kid to the school, you have to take this, and then this, and then there's full of responsibilities. And so to some like relative extent, we do have some control. We have some control of our relative life. We have control of the ability to plan, the ability to use whatever resources that we have available to us to try and be happy. But then also when I say tune in, or I'm entering more into my meditative space of my mind and my heart, then I can feel very clearly that I'm not actually in control of anything. In fact, I'm very much better put up my sails and let the breeze, let that be the guiding kind of force of my life. Because whenever I'm holding on too tight to the way I think things are going to go, or the way I would like them to go, or pushing away too tensely on the way I would not like them to go, then it distorts my sense of who I am and what I am, and my ability to stay connected to that, to what I really am. And what I really am is a mystery. But as with every other living thing, it's fantastic what we really are. It's mysteriously intelligent, and certainly it comes from love. It must. Like whenever you've seen a child born, and it's like, you weep, it's so wonderful, don't you? If it's your child, especially, or your family's, yeah, in particularly. And then also when someone we love leaves us, we weep. One of those loves is a joy, and the other is a grief. But it's still love. It's still love. So to remind myself is that really there's a great love in charge here, and that I don't fully understand or pretend to understand, and really have kind of surrendered the attempt to try to understand. Because I'd rather enjoy the mystery of it, because what I experience of life is wonderful. That there's something inconceivably incredible about it that encompasses both goods and bads. But this is, sometimes it's hard to grapple with at the level of the rational mind, but that's why it's so helpful to get into a meditative, intuitive space, which is what these yoga practices and what we're going to do this evening is so helpful in doing. So you can kind of open up the real kind of nucleus of your vitality, tapping into that inner energies. It's like the soulfulness of the person. And that does make a person shine, and that does make a person more magnetic. But okay. But most importantly, even before all of that, because it's not hard to run prana through the body, it's not hard to do. People look at it and they think, well, these exercises are difficult, and these meditations, Kundalini yoga is difficult. Not really. It is relatively, but just like any good exercise system is difficult. If your exercise system isn't very difficult, well, what is it going to do? It doesn't mean it's only difficult, but there's an aspect to it that tests you and tests the threshold of your vitality. And so that's the beauty of yoga practice, and in particular when we're working with these kriyas of Kundalini yoga, to be able to bring the mind and your psyche into a nice, natural, meditative space where you can feel what is real. You can feel. You can't explain it most of the time, unless you somehow say, like, write us beautiful poetry or something like that. Maybe it comes out in our songs and in our art in all sorts of ways, but it's not going to necessarily fit into the rationale of how we ordinarily think about things. How can there be bad without also good? You can't have one without the other. So that type of thing is the realm of duality, of polarities. And that's a big part of our life. It's not denying that. In fact, it's considering that, even that, an emanation of a love, of an inconceivable love intelligence. Is it making sense? So in other words, it's not dualistic in its approach in that there's some things that are good and then there's some things that are bad. For sure, there are certain things that cause suffering, and there's certain things that help happiness. But at a certain point, to try to figure out our lives, we're good? To try to figure out our lives while maintaining that roller coaster ride, if things going well, then things not going well. Well, with things going well, I hope they stay going well. And I'm holding on to that for dear life because my heart is tender. And so the real hard part of the yoga is not the actual practices, I don't think, but it's doing that work where we will be vulnerable with ourselves and really open ourselves up to ourselves, not to somebody else in this case, to ourselves. There's a deep honesty that starts to happen inside. And that sometimes is hard to do because our mind's always doing the things, remember? And so then when you direct it inwardly, sometimes it's inspecting in such a way that it causes self-loathing. And we don't feel good about ourselves, and we think of ourselves in a way that produces feelings of insecurity. This is very natural. We all know what that feels like. None of us are above that. But what we don't want to be is dominated by that, to where then that is causing our life to be miserable. And we just think, well, that's how I am, because that's how my horoscope is. Nah, the horoscope is always just a starting point. It's not something not to get stuck into, just like this. Because there's always the refined version of whatever the placements are, and then there's the more denser, destructive versions of that. So in other words, for no matter what, no matter where the Saturn is in the sky, for instance, there's going to be some sort of beneficial function of that, and then there's going to be some difficult function of that. And so, for instance, the planet Saturn, which is I think, an appropriate thing to talk about this evening, considering the situation we're in. With the full moon happening in Aquarius, where Saturn's been hanging out for weeks and weeks. And then when you get this kind of crescendo of emotional energy right there in Saturn's domain, because he's in what they call in Vedic astrology his Mul Trikona placement, which is his strongest placement in the entire sky. So Saturn is ruling the day here, no doubt about it. And so then if you see, this is what I always think is the benefit of being a yogi. And by being a yogi, I don't mean you're going and you're doing yoga exercises, but endeavoring in your life to not be swung by the polarities of life too dramatically, to where we lose our sense of what we are and what our lives are really all about. So therefore that means I have to somehow find a way to embrace the difficult things just as I would embrace the pleasurable things. But embracing the difficult things is much harder to do, but it is the only good choice. Because difficult things are coming if they're not here right now. And if you're in them right now, they're passing. But then they'll come again one day. This isn't a fairy tale where there's only Venus and Pisces all the time and then never moves or changes. That's not how the physics of our world works. The physics of our world works is that there's ups and downs. And it's very easy to be hypnotized by those ups and downs. Do you understand what I'm saying? And so the happiness comes out of my experience, the little experience I have. The happiness comes out of being able to dwell more and more between those two things. What does that even mean, you see? It has to be an experiential thing. That's the dance within this kind of dream of life. And life is very much like a dream. Don't you think? Especially the more you age, it's like, what happened? Where did all the time go? And so, sometimes it does feel, when we're working with these types of things, and we have a moment of inspiration or a moment of some type of epiphany, that you do have the sense that you're kind of waking up. But sometimes it rubs me the wrong way, though, when this waking up is used as kind of like an us and them thing. Like there's this this organization of people on the planet that are awake. And then there's this other organization that they're all asleep. And I don't think it's like that at all. I think it's way more nuanced than that, and way more mysterious, and way less black and white. You lose compassion with those dispositions sometimes, you know. And so that's just my opinion. Some other people disagree. That's good. But my whole thing is understand it via compassion. And compassion is not some state of sympathy. Compassion is a love that brings you wisdom. It's not always certainly not always totally what we might think of as altruistic, because there's benefits for ourselves. In fact, we're always, as Dalai Lama is fond of saying, the first one to benefit when you experience compassion. You're always the first one to benefit. And so that's why I would say, if you're going to, you have to be selfish somehow, but try to be the wise selfish and find the ways of being happy that help our interconnection with others be more and more happy, be more and more joyful, and more loving. Yeah. And so that's the thing. It's easy, especially when Saturn is bearing down on us sometimes, to be so in our own misery that the heart gets a bit contracted. So very slowly, as we feel safe to do so, we let that thing soften. And we realize that it's our inner how do I feel about others in the privacy of my own mind and heart? That's what I'm talking about, is that difficult work of inner honesty, of being honest with myself. Yeah. And actually, at first it seems like it sucks, because remember, we think we're lousy. And then now I'm being honest with myself that I'm lousy. But then you find that's actually my experience, and I'm positive it will be with yours and has been with yours, is that something totally opposite of that happens. When you can just feel, that's all it has to do with. If you can just feel that inner lousiness, not as a permanent state, but as a feeling, and you feel the compassion that arises when you acknowledge to yourself that you are suffering. You are suffering. And when you're compassionate with yourself, you'll fall in love. And it'll soften, and that feeling is there, and that feeling can be intense, but that feeling's going to go. It's on its way. Remember, if I'm in a difficult time, it's on its way. But by allowing oneself to feel, that's how you metabolize emotion more efficiently, so that emotion's not getting stuck. Because when it gets stuck because we have narratives around it. You see, I told you I was like this. And that's what we do often with astrology. We'll find if we start to investigate our charts, and we'll see, I told you I'm fucked. You'll see, like, I told you I had a no good chart. And that's how we tend to look at our charts. Often it's the case. Even people with quite nice charts, I think. And it has nothing to do with the chart. It has to do only with the lens that we're looking at the chart through. And I'm into what's the lens. not what's the chart. That's why I can get down with all the astrologers and all of this and the that, because I'm more interested personally in the lens. What approach can I come to it? What am I trying to take out of this? Well, mostly what I'm trying to do is be happy and feel good. And I find that is totally dependent on how much I actually care about others feeling good. Simple physics of thing. And that will take you into the space between the goods and the bads. Compassion takes you into the space between the goods and the bads. But you know what else does? Kundalini Yoga. Center the life force. Bring the mind into the meditative space. Finally, the thinking, obsessive, worried, or depressed mind calms, lightens. The rhythm of the life force chi prana in the body is feeling good. You feel a new sense of strength and vitality. The mind relaxes, and very naturally you're intuitive. Very naturally. It's not a special effect. It's what happens when all the things are connecting together. And that's what we're here to do. Sometimes just push this lever that way, push this lever. There's actually was nothing wrong with any of us in the first place. But sometimes you get a short circuit. Sometimes you have to lift this one in that way, and this, and it's like, I get the circuits connecting again. And I can feel myself a little better, just a little bit, but it's enough. It's enough for me to remember who I am and what I am, and that I'm not miserable. And I have the capacity to be totally happy if I can stay connected to that part of me, and I stay with it. That's why we develop what we call a practice. Something that we're doing somewhat consistently, specifically for that endeavor. The most important endeavor, to bring the energy of us through our eyes, through our life story, through our presence, through our relationships. Wow. And then you realize there's nothing special about you. And when you realize that, then you realize everyone is like that. Everyone has a magnificence. And then you can be interested in that magnificence. Not trying to get somebody to do what you do, but interested in them. And that's cool, I think. Come on to the hands and knees. Let's start to move the body. Happy full moon. Jai Shani. Shani is the word for Saturn in India. And then let's start like this cat-cow. You're inhaling. Let's start nice and smooth and slowly. Making the spine nice and supple. Inhaling that is up, exhaling that is down. And it's feeling like you can, through your nose with every inhale, kind of bring the breath into the body, oxygenation of the blood. And with every exhale, you tuck the pelvis under and arch the spine up. Like that. And now you can, it's not so much making the deep stretch, it's creating a nice rhythm for yourself. And it can be light. Yeah, maybe even a little more depth of the rhythm and the breath, making the cerebrospinal fluid circulate. And when you keep the spine nice and supple, you keep your body youthful and young. Perfect. Inhale, head up. Exhale, head down. Amazing. And relax, come sitting back cross-legged. Hands like this. Chest out, shoulder blades release. Inhale out to the left, exhale to the right. Sometimes you feel like, well, if I'm going to go into this Saturn energy, I'm going to feel heavy or drag, because that's when you're talking about things like sickness and death and poverty and all the difficult things in life. But it's not a downer. It's the very thing that opens the heart. It's the very thing that allows us to peer more realistically into what life is. That which provokes fear can one day be that which has made you fearless. To the center, deep inhale, and then exhale. Very nice. Hands on your knees, and just like this, like just a light bounce. Inhale up, exhale, release. You can also do it like this, but if you have enough of the kind of suppleness there, face muscles relaxed actually, eyes closed, inner gaze is softened. And so just what we're doing is simply these preliminary exercises is opening the central channel, the spine, so your prana can flow. And inhale, squeeze up. Exhale. We're always worried like Mercury is retrograde, but Mercury is also your throat center, buddhi. The Buddha is the Vishuddha chakra. So hands are up like this, on your knees again, and then you're just inhaling, turn the head to the left, and exhale to the right, like this. There's nothing to it, you see. You know what there is to it, though, is a nice, deep, rhythmic breath. Inhaling left, exhaling right. Then go the other way, inhale right and exhale left. Inhale center. And then exhale. Yeah, inhale again, deeply through your nose. And keep the breath in for a moment. That means suspend the breath. It means relax your upper body, yet keep the breath in. And then exhale through your nose. And then another deep inhale. Suspension of the breath. Lift the rectum, sex organ, navel, up and in. Root lock. Soften the heart, chest. Soften the gaze, third eye space. And then exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Now what you're gonna do is this breath it'll start like a dog, like just lightly panting, like I'll show you. Do that, stick your tongue a little bit out. Try to relax the tongue though, stick it out but relax it. And try to relax your jaw and try to open the chest. It need not be heavy though. If you give it a nice rhythm, but you make it light, it will get deep after about a minute. But what I want you to do is keep doing the breath, but close the mouth. I don't want you to make it a hard breath. I want you to try to make your exhale and your inhale of equal strength, and keep the breath light and rhythmic like this. It has a pulse. Give it a pulse, but don't make it inflammatory. Also keep it somewhat soft. Blend the two together, pulse and soft. Now see if you can soften your feeling at your heart center, center of your chest. And if you lift your heart and release your shoulder blades as you keep going, see if you can feel how it kind of like lifts the energy up into your heart center. Nice, beautiful rhythm. Now inhale deep. Suspend the breath. Lift the rectum, sex organ, navel, up and in. Spacious of the mind. Soften of your heart. And then exhale. Fantastic, no? Okay. Similar, this one, similar. But you're gonna do the same breath, but this time your thumbs out and fingers tucked in. I thought maybe we do stretch pose, but then I felt a wave of compassion and decided we're gonna skip it tonight, but we're gonna do the aura charge, where your arms are 60 degrees for 3 minutes. And within this 3 minutes, maybe it'll become a little bit difficult. Try to stay the course. Inhale. Same breath. Soften the gaze. You see your shoulder blades are released and your arms are elongated. It's a beautiful posture that helps to lift the life force from its lower triangle below your diaphragm in the pelvis and lift it up into the heart, and the 60-degree angle draws it up into the higher centers. Just little bit, little bit, little bit. It's not like fireworks going off. It's called gently blossoming. But that gently blossoming is called the cultivation of our radiance. No bend in your elbows, regal feeling of the position. The pads of your fingertips are connected to the pads of your palms. Arms elongated, shoulder blades released, breath deeply rhythmic. Now as you continue, final moments. See if you can draw the relaxed gaze where the root of your nose meets your skull bone. And see if you can concentrate your attention there for the final 20 seconds. Inhale. Bring your thumb tips up to touching. Stretch your fingers wide and stretch up and stretch up, stretch up and stretch up and release and relax. Okay, are you ready? Everybody take your arms like this and like shake it off a little bit, okay? Shake it off. You know, any of the heavy residues, shake them off. Life is heavy, but part of taking care of us is from time to time, shake it off. Okay, enough shaking it off. But what I do want us to do is these next a couple more exercises, then we begin this main kriya for our evening, which I'm sure, I think you'll really love. But the experience of this, when you really kind of just, all right, let me uplift myself, you know, let me take the responsibility of happiness, because I can't help anyone else if I'm struggling too much. So I need to, you know, relatively speaking, feel good. So what you're going to do, hands are on your ankles or shins. It's a very light, very simple, like this. As my chest lifts up, my sit bones press down. And it's an inhale, lift, exhale back, through the nose, breathe. Put some breath into your body. Every inhale, and then every exhale, push it out, but create a nice smooth rhythm. Make your respiration part of the rhythm section. It's called lifting the heart, spinal flexors, opening the spinal system, letting the chi flow, let the radiance come out, let the magnetism be centered and balanced. We're all magnetic anyway already. Like developing magnetism is called centering the chi and then directing it in a way that we wish so we can blossom, versus the mind always hijacking with all of its narratives and all of its stories that hold us into our miseries, and saying, no thank you, let me breathe, let me dance, rhythm, let me be light, let me stay connected to what my life is all about, let me feel good, and let me not take no as an answer. Inhale deeply. Suspend the breath. And lift up the Mulaban, root lock, rectum, sex organ, navel. Suspend the breath. And then suspend the mind. Mind becomes spacious. And then exhale. Fantastic. And then this one, please everybody, come standing. Come standing. Everybody at home, do this one too. Index finger to thumb, eyes open, pick a single point to look at, and like Charlotte, it's going to be like a march. Nam, sut, nam, sut. So inhale as the knee comes up to hip level. You feel how your foot connects to the earth every time it touches. When you stretch your arms up, it's circulating the lymph in the upper chest. Stretch open the armpits, helping our immune vitality. With the rhythm, breathe. Put the breath into your blood. Come alive, you know? Through the nose, breathe. Almost there. 15 seconds. Deeper the breath. Inhale, stretch up. Stretch up. Stretch up. And relax. Bravo, bravo. One more of these, and you're going to come sitting with your legs stretched wide like a V shape. Try to be right on your sit bones. Use a cushion, like Charlotte will show. Use a cushion to make sure you're on your sit bones, if you have one. Inhale to the center, turn to either side, exhale. Gently fold, lead with your navel and your heart. Don't worry about touching your toes. It doesn't have anything to do with that. But every inhale, what it does have to do with is fill your lungs. Yeah, we need to get into our bodies. Get into our bodies with good vitality and bring the life force into all of our cells. Beautiful. Inhale, center. And then you just hinge forward a little bit. Exhale. Good. So make your feet flex and your toes engage, but you relax the groin area. You know what I mean? If you do a little of this stuff even once a week, it changes a lot. You feel relaxed in the body, and that allows us to be more easily relaxed in the mind. And relax that posture and shake the legs out. That's what the radiant body work is about. It's not some like super duper esoteric thing, although it has aspects of that that are, quite mystical and subtle. What it really is getting into the human body and experiencing and exploring what the human body is. It's not just some physical sheath. It's multifaceted. It has a subtle energy, has facets, various facets of mental, emotional, feeling, desiring bodies. It has electromagnetism, and it absolutely has radiance. And so it's experiencing actually the brilliance of the human. So we're less stuck in the muddiness of the density of it, okay? So in this Kriya, it's a 3-exercise Kriya, and at the most 9 minutes total, total for all of them. But what it does do is ask something of you, and it's going to be using a breath that we're going to put in a rhythm. And the breath comes with an O-shaped mouth. You pucker your mouth into an O shape. And it comes from the chest. So it's a little bit like that panting breath, but we don't have our tongues out. Check it, like. It has both an exhale and an inhale. A lot of the times people just do the exhale and then they can't keep it going. Got it? You do it that way, you feel it in your chest, but it's not so intense. You try to soften it and deepen it. And that takes, might take the first 4 or 5 minutes for that to really feel like it's open. But once it's opened, it was worth those 4 or 5 minutes. Definitely. Because now it's like, shoo. Respiration, prana is more centered. But just do your best. Any moment you need to rest, relax, please relax. But what I encourage you is to, if you need to relax, close your eyes. And then just let your breath flow totally naturally. And then just feel and experience and enjoy the feeling of it. Not like, I can't do this. You need to take a break. Take a break and enjoy the effects of what you've already done. Because you've already done a lot. Okay? So here's what happens. In the first exercises, the hands are going to do this. They're going to go like this. Like, You like it? What y'all think? So here's how it works. When the hands are twisting in, they close. When they twist away from you, they open like that. And you hold up your heart like that. And then you move, it's to open these wrist meridians. You have to make your mouth in a puckered O. And it comes in the chest. It's a heart breath, you see? It's a little bit of hard work to do it well, but what it'll do is make everything else easier. Trust. Give it a try, and then you'll learn to trust, not by just blindly trusting. See how it helps, or not. O-shaped mouth. Try to soften the chest. Now, see if you can open your eyes just a little bit as you continue, and see if you can gaze down at the tip of your nose. That's called the dristi, where the concentration of the optic gaze goes. Puts an equal and opposite pressure on the frontal lobe of the brain, pituitary gland, hypothalamus. Changes how the endocrines are secreting. The hormones are starting to experience more balance. That's something you can feel. The nervous system strengthens. That's something you can experience with practice over even relatively short periods of time. Less stressed, less worried, less insecure. Maybe still some, but less. Keep going. Inhale through your mouth. Now make the fists and squeeze the spine. And then like a cannon through your mouth, exhale. Inhale. Make a fist, lift your pelvic floor, and then squeeze the muscles along the spine. Exhale. One more, inhale. Root lock, rectum, sex organ, navel. Squeeze the fists, the spine. Exhale. Yes, shake your arms a little bit. If you need some water, have some water. Next exercise, same breath, same gaze. Tip of the nose if you can, otherwise eyes closed. And here's what you'll see. The key for this thing is it comes from down here. It's from the navel and it swings, okay? It's not your arms. It comes down from the navel. You pivot from down here. That's where your power is, from the context of your pranic system. Your O-shaped mouth breath, and you're leading with the heel of your palm, as if you're kind of pushing something away from you. And what are we pushing? That which is obstructing the happiness, that which is obstructing the love, the old residues. It's taking more kind of mastery of our own domain, taking charge of our own happiness and our abilities, acknowledging that we have will, that we have energy, that we have inspiration, that we have desires, that we have creativity. Seconds and go. Inhale, left arm out, right arm back. Lift the pelvic floor, rectum, sex organ, navel. Squeeze like lion's claws. And then exhale. Yeah, lion, inhale. That's the energy. Lion's claws. Lift the pelvic floor. It's strong, it's regal, it's vital. It has courage. Exhale. Yeah? And switch, one more. You may not think of yourself like that, but you can kind of embody the archetype. Regal, lion, exhale. You see what I mean? And maybe some of that. You may not have your sun in Leo, but that doesn't mean you can't have the Leo experience and that it can be a part of you, because it is a part of you. All of it's a part of you. Nobody was born with one of the constellations missing. You know what I mean? We're all born under that same sky. Yeah. All right, last exercise. Are you ready for it? Then we're going to lay down and relax and enjoy the effect, okay? Same breath, same gaze. Arms are like slightly bent, and then the same breath, and fingers are not tight but not touching. It's called opening the heart prana. Make a wheel, momentum. Let it swing. Let it swing. Chest out. Let it swing. Tip of the nose. Almost there. See if you can do it. See if you can go into it. Let it swing. Go. You can move your energy. You can move all the energy of the life. You don't have 20 seconds? That's all. Inhale. Make your fingers tight. Stretch your tongue out. Maximum. Stretch the undercord of the tongue. Squeeze deep. Exhale. Inhale. Squeeze. Exhale. Inhale. Squeeze, stretch your tongue out. Your tongue, exhale. And just relax and now into a meditative space. Please, just for a few minutes, relax, please, onto your backs. Very important. A few minutes, just let yourself relax. 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 And please try to let your jaw relax. And let your tongue relax. See if you can just feel the palms of your hands relax. And the sole of your feet relax. And the fingers relax, please. And the upper back even is consciously softening. Relax the pelvis area and the heart and the chest, and the arms and the big muscles of your legs, relaxing them. And the muscles of your neck and your mind is relaxing. And all the weight you've been carrying, you're not carrying it right now. Allowing it to be elsewhere. Being nourished and nurtured. Inhale deeply. Exhale. Move the fingers and toes. Inhale deeply. Exhale. Rotate the wrists. Rotate the ankles. Rub the palms together, make some heat. And rub the soles of the feet together, make some heat. And then cat stretch to each side. And then hug the knees to the chest. Rock a couple of times on the spine. Thank you. And come up. And I want to share with you for this full moon this little meditation that I love very much and use frequently myself, and it's been the kind of main preliminary practice meditation for the radiant body work we've been doing and have started to do. And what this is this mudra of the compassionate heart, the wisdom heart. And so what happens is you cross your index fingers, and then your thumbs are point straight away, and that gets held at your heart center. The other three fingers, middle fingers, ring fingers, and pinky fingers, the backs of them press against each other, and they point up towards the ceiling like that. So that's the mudra that you're holding, the posture you're holding. That's how you're working with your magnetism within the context of this meditation. And so what you're going to do first in that posture is we're going to just do it has a little visualization at the beginning, and then you go into a rhythmic segmented breath pattern where you'll take 4 sniffs in for the inhale, like, then you'll suspend it in, you'll keep it in for 4 counts, and I'll guide us. We're going to do it all together. It's very beautiful. And then you exhale in 4 sniffs through the nose out. It'll be like that. So just inhale in 4 sniffs, suspend, and then it goes like. Then you keep the breath out and you suspend it out for 4 counts. Then sa, ta, na, ma, then out. Then you keep it out, push it all out. Na, ma, then. Suspend, 2, 3, 4. And then, perfect. Now stay in the posture and just start to make the breath long and slow and let the breath breathe naturally. And in your heart, think of someone whom you love. You love like tremendously, like there's someone you would do anything for. It could be an animal family. Any being that you feel kind of unspeakable love for. And think of how much you love them and how much you want them to be happy. And feel that. And then also, please, if you could, if you feel willing to, feel how much you wish them not to have to suffer, and how that's a natural, genuine wish of the heart. So arousing the heart of love and compassion. And then you take that feeling of love, and then if you see if you can just take it and just with your mind and heart and creativity, kind of share it with all life, all beings capable of feeling as a wish. Yeah. And then you come back to that person that you love so much. Feel how much you don't want them to suffer, and how much you want them to be happy, and how much that they do have happy, and that how the happiness they do have, you want it to increase and swell. And that's unconditional. And how much we don't wish for them to ever have to suffer, and that they do suffer just in the same way that we suffer. And you can give that beautiful wish of happiness and freedom of suffering. the most natural, innate wish of our hearts. And then we'll start to begin the suspend. 2, 3, 4. Out, out. Keep it out. 2, 3, 4, and suspend. 2, 3, 4, and suspend out. 2, 3, 4. Spend out. The only thing to focus on is the breath. And doing it so beautifully, holding the chest high and the heart softened. It's going into the great heart. Eyes are closed, gaze relaxed, softly. Mind is spacious, listening to the rhythm. Almost there. Stay with it. Stay inside it. And just for the final minute, stay with it. push the breath out. And through the nose, deeply inhale. Suspend the breath. Let the mind be spacious. Exhale. Inhale deep. Suspend the breath. Soften the chest. The spacious of mind. Hold the position and exhale. Then inhale again. Suspension of the breath. And lift the pelvic floor. Soften the spine. Spacious of mind. And release, relax. Feel just for a moment. Before moving right on to the next thing. And inhale. Take your arms and just like one more time. Just shake them, shake them, shake them a little bit. Yeah, bravo. Yeah, so it's good work. You know, it's very deep work, but it's also very just. It's not having to be a huge deal. On some level, it's a simple way in how we take care of ourselves. And so therefore, with doing like a meditation like we just did, like this, and you can use that anytime, a simple meditation. You can do it anywhere. You don't need the music. It's just that breath pattern. And with that intention, the meditation to arouse the heart. And why do I want to do that in the first place is so that for numero uno, so I can feel good, okay, safe, loved. That's a starting point. Because if that's not there, then there's no going outside and helping to bring that elsewhere. And so, but of course we already all have that there. We have love, and we do have this, even though sometimes maybe we don't think of it that way, we all do love ourselves. That's why we care so much. And we care, and that's often why it is we're trying so hard, and yet sometimes coming up against like edge after edge after edge after edge. And so for me, this is the type of thing that it takes the edge off. It's like a release valve that I can depend on constantly, and I do depend on constantly. A release valve for all my troubles, and all my stresses, and all the heaviness, and all the weight, but also all the good things. Because you need, in a certain way, you need a release valve from that too, for that too, because otherwise you get attached to the good things, because they're so good and you just want to be in it and you don't ever want that to go. But some of those things that we don't ever want to go are going eventually. And so that's why we also need a release valve for the positive things, because what is that release valve doing? But it's keeping me connected to me and the vital me. And that simple kind of practice of keeping the electromagnetism balanced, and it's not some, new age, fluffy concept. It's not hard to experience yourself as being magnetic. And there's been practice and teachings all around the world for as long as we know. That's working with your life force, working with your magnetism. So this idea that it's some fluffy and some woo-woo thing is nonsense, actually. Is that there's great substance in it, and it's helpful, but it's experiential based, and it's not going to fit the materialist model. It does not make sense within a strictly materialist ideology. So there's that. But thank goodness. Because you get to experience the parts of yourself that aren't material in nature. And that's love. and that gives there's a certain transcendent nature to things that we all love to experience. We experience it at certain times in our life where it feels like a moment of grace. You see a shooting star go across the sky, or you're just watching a sunset over like an ocean or a mountain canyon, something like this, or a moment of grace, or you just have like the most wonderful night meeting somebody and having like the best fucking conversation, or something like that, moments of grace. And so, but what I love about this stuff and what that radiant body work is really about is kind of opening oneself up to that more intentionally, but then also putting the work behind it. Do you know what I mean? Because my experience is this: when I'm having nice connectivity to not only my mind and my emotion and my physical body, but also to the subtle sense of me, and to how my energy feels. And I can feel my energy, and sometimes I'll get a little dense, and I'll know that I need even a better practice right now because it's getting a little muddy, and then I'll do that. And so to have that there that can keep connected to the subtle nature means then I'm staying more connected to that which is not impacted by all the ups and downs. And that it feels like a life raft that carries you through the storms that come in the ocean too. And it helps you for not grasping like when the sirens are singing. And it sounds so enchanting, just that mythology. Because then what my favorite part of the whole thing is it's experiencing my life as a hero's journey, really. Not as just like a kind of concept that stays at the level of the intellect, but an active experience that I'm having. In the story of my life, I can not just reflect on it after it's happened, but I'm experiencing and reflecting on it as it's happening. It's like, wow, that's the brilliance, I think, of learning the mythology and astrological themes. Because then you can know that part of yourself is there. And then and then you see the stories that are related to it start to come alive in your life. It's very interesting. Like Shatabisha, where the full moon is tonight, has a story of sacrifice in it. These are old, ancient, sometimes strange stories. And it's about who is it? Varuna, who is the deity of this nakshatra, Shatabisha. He's like actually Neptune is kind of who he is in the Western mythology. He's Neptune, and he rules over waters and magic in the unseen realm, these types of things. So people who are born with something strong in that area of the sky, those themes will show themselves in that person's life, definitely. In all sorts of ways. One version of it's like a laboratory scientist trying to discover what's in the hidden, hasn't yet been discovered yet. There's that type of an Aquarian. And then you have the one that's like traveling in kind of the mystic space of discovering what is real and what is in the unseen in that realm. So the Shatabisha is a nice energy for yogic practice for sure, but it's in general considered a very difficult energy for a lot of other things. So it's nice to be doing this type of stuff. And so anyways, that's just an example to where it's not just like, okay, the hero's journey, or we're just throwing out that, cliche, but rather no, that is our life. And just coming through the womb, as Joseph Campbell used to point out, is a hero's journey, is a heroic journey. This thing is real. And going through that death door is a heroic journey. And you're in the middle of a heroic journey. You see? So that's why these coursework is about. And that's why we love to do these on the full moon. And that's why I'm so happy that you came and did this with us. Because the idea is that we're realizing how great we are, actually. And that we're feeling less down about ourselves and our situation, our predicament. And we're learning, actually, to see that nothing really needs to change on the outside for things to be great. then the outside things that we do need to actually change will get better, like more money. You have to have enough money. You have to have enough food to eat. You have to have the resources to live a relatively comfortable life so you can do the dharma of what your life is about. So prosperity is absolutely a concern and a part of it, a part of Kundalini Yoga, part of astrology. And so it's not that we're non-concerned with the material life. We're absolutely concerned with it, but the way that we deal with it, and from this perspective, is by getting your charge, your electricity, drawing your resources from that which can sustain us. Our life force, but what that is non-conceptual is the problem. So just by saying life force, that's okay, our chi comes from that, but what is that really? We can't actually say, but people call it all sorts of things, God and Allah and the universe and this and that. You can choose whatever feels right to you, or call it nothing at all, and just feel it as, where can I get my batteries charged? If you're very more want it to be totally secular, then it works that way too, for sure, because you can't deny a story that's happening. And so everybody's got a beautiful story. So you're invited to be a part of this Radiant Body course if you would like to be. I know many of you have taken the free training series we put out. I loved doing that. And I loved hearing about it and talking to people who were doing it. And then we did the webcast last week, and I had a really beautiful experience with that. And then this is our final night for this opening of the Radiant Body course. That is one of our oldest courses we've had, but we've just created the brand new version of it. And we've been producing, and I've been teaching this course for probably about a decade now. And it's fantastic stuff. And if you liked all this and you want to take a deeper dive, but not just a deeper dive for intellectual study, but a deeper dive that will get you practicing on a regular basis, and by the end of this thing, there's an actual use. This is no longer theory. Then you can see all about it. It's designed to be taken over about 8 weeks because there's 8 modules, and it's a couple hours a week is it. But then it is going to encourage you to do some practices in between, which I think, for the most part, you'll be happy to do because it's fun. And, well, it is a little hard work, but you do have Saturn somewhere, and Saturn is always wanting work. And this is a way to put in the type of work that makes us feel good and gives us vitality and helps us to be disciplined. So there is part of that for sure, but it's very flexible. You can do it at your own pace and meets you where you're at. You don't have to have really previous experience, but it will take you on a deep dive. And those of you who are practitioners, I think you'll see, you can read on all the modules. It's a very substantive course, and me myself teaching it, I'm learning in real time, because this is the type of stuff it doesn't get old. It's not like, oh yeah, I learned that, because it's the type of study that also opens us up, and then we're experiencing more of what we are, and our whole lens through which we're looking at life changes, and then you do it again just like I'm doing it. That's why I always like to reteach it every few years. And this was definitely my favorite one. The music in it is incredible. If you like the music tonight, all of that music is from the Simrit band, most of what you're hearing is original Life Force Academy produced. Like, we work together and we create this music that's designed for these practices too, and most of them are recorded with doing the practices at our big immersions. But anyway, I wanted to shout them out because they are on an airplane on the way to their European tour. And I wanted to just send love out to them and wishing them prosperity and good health and vitality and fun, because they work so hard and it's so difficult. And normally we just see like what's on Instagram, the surface, but to be artists, and that's how you make your living as an artist, is not easy in this country and anywhere in the world for the most part. And so many thanks to them, because my life has benefited so much from working with some of these most extraordinary musicians I know of. And so, so anyways, point being is the music is great in the course. And it's on sale right now. It's a really good deal if you still get in, but we have started the course, and there's only a few more days to join in before we close it, and the sale goes away. The regular price, it's all on your page there, but the regular price is $6.95, and it's on sale almost 50% off right now. $395, and there's a payment plan if that makes it easier for you if you really want to do it, but you can't do all that right now. There's a payment plan if that feels good to you, and we guarantee all the courses. So if you get it and for any reason you decide it's not for you, email our team. Any email you get from us, just let them know, hey, I got the Radiant Body course, I actually not feeling it. They'll give you a full refund if you let them know within 60 days. So that's, I always like that we do that, and I think people do, and we still are able to do it because mostly nobody does that. But it's always an option. And then what else? That's pretty much it. Oh, we threw in another course. We sweetened the pot. And I'm happy about this. And those of you who were here last week, you know, I told you, but I have a course that we taught live at Menla Mountain Retreat in the Catskills of New York. And this is an incredible, and part of this has the band playing live music in about half of those sessions. But it's a whole course called the 8 Human Vitalities. And you can see all that too. There's a link for it somewhere on your webpage there. But it's like the vitality of happiness. Each session's like about 3 hours. Yoga practice, teachings, really, but very creative and very fun and very transformative. Session 2, the vitality of energy, vitality of happiness, vitality of confidence, vitality of love. And it goes really kind of using Ayurvedic and Vedic astrology principles just to kind of guide the theme for your practices. And it's so cool. So anyways, that, if you get the Radiant Body course, you're also getting this course. And for both of them, you have lifetime access. You can download them so you don't have to depend on internet speed, or, you know, you want to travel on the plane and do in the back of the plane or just listen to it, you know. We provide audio files for all the modules. You can listen to it while you're hiking or driving and you're in traffic, whatever it is. In other words, it's very accessible. We try to make it as user-friendly as possible, and I think you'll love it. It's beautifully filmed, and we're very proud of it, and now is really the last chance to get in. And so you're invited to do that. And thank you, everybody, for all the hard work that has gone into it. Thank you, everybody who has participated in this the last few weeks, including all of you. Thank you for being here this evening. Satnam, happy full moon. Let's take the hand into the prayer pose, and we'll seal our session today. Yeah, feeling love, spreading love, and thanks, gratitude for our life, to be alive. Thanks so much, everyone. Happy full moon. Thanks to the Life Force Academy team, and looking forward to getting going in the course with all of you. Everything's right there. Everything you need to know if you want to know it. See you later. Have a beautiful night. Keep in touch, please.
Over the